If your diaper bag has any of these 6 brands in it right now, you need to hear this before the next trip outside. 3 of them contain hormone-disrupting chemicals at concentrations Europe restricted years ago. The other 3 are labeled mineral, natural, chemical-free, and each one bears a synthetic UV-absorbing compound in the inactive ingredient list, where parents aren't trained to look. 6 baby sunscreens, all sold at Target, Walmart, and Amazon, all carrying some version of Safe for Baby on the packaging. All 6 failed when measured against current international safety data. Every product gets named, every ingredient gets explained, and at the end, 3 brands that actually passed, including one under $10. Every single product on the avoid list today is technically legal to sell in the United States and meets current FDA guidelines. The core issue is that the FDA has not meaningfully updated its safety concentration limits for these specific chemicals since 1999. 26 years of evolving research on how chemical UV filters cross the skin barrier, enter infant bloodstreams, and alter developing hormones, and the domestic limits have not shifted a single percentage point. Our avoid verdicts are based strictly on modern toxicological data provided by the European Union Scientific Committee on Consumer Safety, which has determined that the levels of chemicals currently used in these American products are fundamentally unsafe due to their significant potential to disrupt pediatric hormones. Europe slashed its allowable concentrations. The FDA never followed. That means multinational corporations legally sell formulations in the United States containing chemical loads strictly prohibited across Europe. Same company, same logo. Different formula depending on which continent the baby lives on. Based on manufacturer ingredient lists current as of spring 2026, these are the 6 baby sunscreens that failed. Number 6. Equate Baby Broad Spectrum Sunscreen, SPF 70. Walmart store brand baby sunscreen packs 9% Homosalate alongside 6% oxybenzone into a single $6 bottle. The European safety limit for Homosalate is 0.5%. For oxybenzone, 2.2%, 18 times the European threshold for one confirmed endocrine disruptor, nearly 3 times the threshold for another, both in the same formula, marketed for infants. A 2025 systematic review of human exposure data confirmed that oxybenzone correlates with reduced testosterone in adolescent males and a 15% drop in the thyroid hormones that govern fetal brain development. These are not theoretical projections from rodent studies. These are measured human outcomes at real-world exposure levels. Infants absorb proportionally more through their skin than adults do. Coating that surface with this chemical density forces an immature system to process a hormonal payload that European regulators calculated is biologically unsafe at a small fraction of this concentration. Avoid. Number 5. Banana Boat Kids Sport Sunscreen Lotion, SPF 50+. The sport designation on this bottle is precisely what makes it dangerous. This formula contains 9% homosalate and 7.5% octocrylene. FDA clinical trials proved that topical application of octocrylene alone drives blood plasma concentrations to 14 times the agency's own threshold for safe systemic exposure, and the chemical remains detectable in the bloodstream for weeks after a single application. Octocrylene is also chemically unstable. It naturally degrades over time into benzophenone, a recognized mutagen and potent endocrine disruptor. As this bottle ages on a store shelf or bakes in a car trunk, the concentration of that unlisted contaminant quietly climbs inside the formula before anyone opens it. Because this carries a sport label, the directions instruct parents to reapply every 80 minutes during outdoor activity. Each coat seals another layer of these compounds against wet, permeable skin. Each reapplication compounds the systemic load, not by accident, but precisely as directed. The label promising maximum sun protection effectively guarantees maximum chemical delivery. Avoid. Number 4. Neutrogena Wet Skin Kids Sunscreen Spray, SPF 70+. The only aerosol on this list, and the delivery format changes everything. When a chemical sunscreen is sprayed, microscopic droplets scatter into the surrounding air. A child inhales them. Those droplets bypass the skin entirely and land deep in the lungs, on tissue designed to pass gases straight into the bloodstream. No skin barrier slowing absorption, no liver filtering. The chemicals reach systemic circulation instantly. Kenvue loads this spray with Homosalate at concentrations that dwarf the 0.5% the European Union permits for topical application alone. European regulators flag the compounded danger of aerosolizing chemical UV filters specifically because inhalation eliminates every protective mechanism the body provides. The wet skin technology is marketed as a convenience feature for restless children at the pool. A parent cannot aim a continuous aerosol stream at a squirming toddler without creating spray drift around the child's nose and mouth. Speed of application. Zero control over what gets inhaled. The Environmental Working Group has flagged this specific product for severe inhalation risk and excessive chemical exposure year after year. It remains on shelves at every major retailer in the country. Avoid. Number 3. Pipette Mineral Sunscreen Stick, SPF 50. The next 3 products on this list contain no oxybenzone, no homosalate, and no overt chemical UV filters of any kind. They are marketed as mineral, natural, and chemical-free. They made this list anyway. When we use the phrase quietly triggering in the title of this video, we are specifically referring to a chemical called Butyloctyl Salicylate, an unregulated UV filter that clean brands bury in their inactive ingredient lists so they can legally stamp the packaging 100% mineral. The European Union is currently investigating this entire class of chemicals for reproductive and developmental toxicity. Here is the mechanism. Butyloctyl salicylate absorbs ultraviolet light identically to a regulated chemical filter. But because the FDA never classified it as one, manufacturers list it as a skin conditioner in the inactive ingredients. Once absorbed through an infant's skin, tissue enzymes cleave the ester bond and release raw salicylic acid into the bloodstream, the same acid the EU explicitly prohibits in cosmetics for children under 3. Pipette built its entire identity on non-toxic transparency, premium pricing, clean beauty certifications, biotech-derived squalane. The mineral stick lists 21% zinc oxide as the sole active ingredient, then relies on butyloctyl salicylate to achieve the smooth, invisible finish that justifies a $16 price tag. Independent laboratory analysis from the University of New South Wales found that roughly 34% of sunscreens marketed as mineral-only contained these stealth UV-absorbing chemicals. Pipette is among them. $16 for clean beauty packaging wrapped around a formula that converts into a restricted acid inside your baby's body. Number 2. Blue Lizard Baby Mineral Sunscreen, SPF 50+. Your pediatrician probably recommended this one. Crown Laboratories built Blue Lizard's clinical reputation on a single proposition. This is the pure mineral alternative. The brand parents seek out specifically because they want zero chemical filters touching their baby's skin. The active ingredient panel delivers exactly that. 10% zinc oxide, 8% titanium dioxide, physical blockers only. No oxybenzone, no homosalate, no octocrylene. The front of the bottle reads precisely the way a protective parent wants it to. Turn it around. Butyloctyl salicylate appears as the 5th inactive ingredient, at a concentration estimated between 5% and 10% of the total formula. At that volume, this is not a trace additive stabilizing texture. It is functioning as an undisclosed chemical UV filter, absorbing ultraviolet radiation through the identical mechanism as the very compounds this brand exists to replace. Same compound as the pipette stick, same metabolic conversion, same restricted acid released into an infant's bloodstream. The doctor who recommended Blue Lizard did not scrutinize the inactive ingredient deck. The parent who bought it did not know those words existed. Crown Laboratories designed it that way. Avoid. Number 1. Sunbum Baby Bum, SPF 50, Mineral Sunscreen. According to independent laboratory results filed in an ongoing 2025 federal class action lawsuit, this sunscreen does not provide the protection printed on its label. In August 2025, A complaint was filed in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of California, Andrea Fahey versus Sunbum LLC. The plaintiff submitted Sunbum's baby mineral sunscreen to the Consumer Product Testing Company, an independent laboratory that evaluated the product using exact FDA protocols. The result? A product sold at SPF 50 delivered a measured SPF of 17, 1/3 of the claimed protection. When a parent trusts this $14 bottle at the beach, their child's skin absorbs roughly 3 times more cancer-causing ultraviolet radiation than the label promises. That protection failure alone would justify pulling this product from every nursery in the country. But it does not explain how a formula with modest mineral content reaches even SPF 17 without chemical assistance. The inactive ingredient list provides the answer. Sunbum's formula leans heavily on butyloctyl salicylate and polyester 8, synthetic compounds classified as inactive but functioning as chemical UV boosters. The same stealth mechanism found in pipette and blue lizard, the same conversion into restricted salicylic acid inside an infant's body. 2 distinct failures in a single product. The mineral protection advertised on the front is allegedly fraudulent based on independent clinical testing. And the protection the formula does manage to deliver comes partially from an undisclosed chemical that the brand's own marketing exists to deny. SC Johnson, Sunbum's parent company, maintains that all formulations undergo rigorous testing and that butyloctyl salicylate is a globally recognized skin conditioning emollient. Independent lab results now sitting in a federal courtroom challenge the first claim. The biological reality of salicylate hydrolysis in infant tissue challenges the second. Cult following, premium pricing. A federal lawsuit alleging 2/3 of the promised protection never existed, and a formula that quietly delivers the exact class of chemicals the brand was built to reject. Avoid. Every sunscreen that made this section achieves its protection without oxybenzone, Homosalate, octocrylene, or butyloctyl salicylate. No stealth boosters, no regulatory workarounds. Dense mineral formulations using zinc oxide dispersed in biologically inert bases. Think Baby Safe Sunscreen. SPF 50+, costs around $15 at Target, Walmart, and Amazon. The formula uses 23.4% non-nano zinc oxide as the only active ingredient, 0 chemical co-filters on the label, 0 BOS on the inactive deck. Spreadability comes from caprylic triglycerides and jojoba oil, compounds that neither absorb ultraviolet light nor convert into anything harmful inside the body. It leaves a visible white cast. That cast is what mineral sunscreen looks like when nothing is hiding behind it. Badger Baby Mineral Sunscreen Cream. SPF 40. Runs around $18 at Target, Whole Foods, and Amazon. This is the most stripped-down baby sunscreen formula on the market. 22.5% uncoated non-nano zinc oxide in organic sunflower oil and beeswax. The ingredient list is short enough to read in one breath, and every item on it is a substance you could identify by sight. No synthetic compounds, no chemical boosters, no ingredients requiring a pharmacology textbook to evaluate. Earth Mama Baby Face Mineral Sunscreen Stick, SPF 40, costs approximately $15 at Target and Amazon. This is the only stick format that passed without the butyloctyl salicylate trade-off. 22% zinc oxide blended with organic coconut oil, beeswax, and cocoa butter. NSF certified organic. Independently verified to contain no BOS and no related salicylate compounds whatsoever. The texture is noticeably thicker and less cosmetically refined than Pipette or Sunbum. That difference in feel is the gap between a formula designed to disappear on the skin and a formula designed to protect what's underneath it. If those price points are difficult, Coppertone Pure and Simple Baby Mineral, SPF 50, runs under $10 at Walmart and Target. 24% zinc oxide as the sole active ingredient, with no butyloctyl salicylate on the inactive list. The trade-off is synthetic film formers and the absence of an organic botanical base. For the 2 specific threats covered in this video, legacy chemical hormone disruptors and stealth salicylate boosters, it comes back clean. If budget only permits one change, discard any aerosol spray first. Replace it with any lotion listing only zinc oxide as the active ingredient. Before purchasing, flip the bottle and scan the inactive ingredients for the words Butyloctyl Salicylate. If they appear, put the bottle back on the shelf. When reading any baby sunscreen label, look for non-nano zinc oxide as the sole active, with short inactive lists built on recognizable botanical oils: sunflower, coconut, jojoba. If the active ingredient panel lists anything beyond zinc oxide or titanium dioxide, it is a chemical sunscreen, regardless of how the front label reads. On the inactive side, the name that matters most is butyloctyl salicylate, but any ingredient ending in salicylate in a sunscreen should raise a flag. The full list of chemical names to check is in the description below. The one certification that matters here is EWG Verified, the verified mark specifically, not simply a favorable score in their database. That mark requires independent third-party auditing of the full ingredient deck and explicitly prohibits BOS. Certifications that carry no weight for this category. Reef-friendly is an unregulated marketing phrase in the United States. Dermatologist tested guarantees no specific safety standard, and 100% mineral, printed across the front of a box, does not guarantee the absence of chemical UV absorbers listed on the back. 6. Baby sunscreens. 3. Loading infant skin with chemical concentrations the rest of the developed world restricted years ago. 3. Hiding behind the word mineral while slipping an unregulated chemical into the formula, one that converts inside the body into a substance the European Union says should never touch a child under 3. The safe replacements exist at the same retailers, in the same price range, on the same shelves. The only difference is what the manufacturer chose to formulate behind the label. Which of these brands was in your diaper bag? If you have found a clean sunscreen we did not cover, put it in the comments. Other parents are looking for exactly that right now.